What's the purpose of a believer? Purpose of a believer is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We spoke about niyyah. We spoke about intention. We've all heard the hadith. We've all heard, the scholars banging on about how you must purify your intention, etc., etc. But when you take a deep look into niyyah, you would find that the person who has a correct intention all the time and carries on renewing it, they are also renewing their purpose in life. Why? Because you're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remembering the Creator. You remembering the one who you are going to return to, right or wrong. So imagine if you are always able to put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into your life and into the picture, you will have a purpose bi'idhnillah. You will not find yourself wasting time. So for example, if you're going through the first fitna, which is social media, imagine if you had to scroll with a purpose. What's your purpose? Your purpose is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can you please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you using a social media app, for example? You please Him by doing that which pleases Him on that app, which would be you share something of benefit. It could be your own writing. It could be that of somebody else. But you've got a purpose. You're not wasting time. And in today's terms, you find that amongst the non-Muslims, they term it as being a producer and not a consumer. So when you're scrolling, for example, you carry on scrolling, you are doing what? You're consuming other people's media. But the minute you start to share that which is beneficial, the minute you start to write that which is beneficial, the minute you have some sort of impact, you are producing. You are producing good content. And if a Muslim has the correct intention, that bi'idhnillah becomes a good deed for him. Again, what's so beautiful when it comes to the religion is, even if you want to do something which is permissible, with the correct intention, it becomes an act of worship. How do you make it into an act of worship? With niyyah, having purpose in your life, making it solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want to ask you, for example, how many of us love to sleep? How many of us love to sleep? As long as you're not missing your salah and doing that which is impermissible, sleep is permissible. It's allowed. You're neither doing a good deed, nor are you doing an evil deed, correct? When you sleep, it's a human need. You need to sleep. Now, how do you turn the sleep into a good deed? Niyyah, intention, purpose. Literally, a person intends that I'm sleeping, and you can have as many intentions as you want when it comes to this. Oh Allah, I'm sleeping early because this body you've given me is an amana. I need to look after it. It needs rest. I'm sleeping early so I can wake up for Salatul Tahajjud, and I can wake up for Salatul Fajr, etc. That sleep which was permissible has become what? An act of worship. More so, you as a Muslim, the bigger picture is you are living as a God-conscious person. You are living as somebody with purpose in your life. And that bi'idhnillah allows you to navigate these modern day fitan because you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, there's so many times where you are going to be alone. At times, how many of us, or we know of people, where in front of others, you can't do that which is evil. You can't do that which is bad. In fact, at times it may not even be evil, but it may be bad etiquette. Whilst you're in front of others, you don't do it. Why? Because the people are stopping you from doing it. But then how many times are you alone? It's only you. What stops you from doing that bad and that evil? Nurturing this quality of taqwa, being God conscious and being sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think about it. That's what stops you from doing it. When it comes to food and drink, eating and drinking, as long as a person is not exceeding the limit, what is it? It is mubah, permissible, correct? The person who eats with the intention of becoming stronger for ibadah, with the intention of being able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way which is better, with the intention of being strong, for example, for qiyamul layl, etc. That eating now becomes what? An act of worship. So much so, even if you've got something permissible, let's say halal entertainment, something halal, you want to go for a walk, you want to go for a hike, you want to play some sport, for example, to do it, as long as there's no haram involved, you're not missing your salawat, etc. It is what? Originally permissible. However, if a person intends, you can either intend that you're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that you become stronger, etc. Or some of the scholars mention that they would intend with their rest. They would intend that the rest they took would be a reason for them to become stronger when they return to the work, when they return to their writing of the books and their study, etc. That rest and that halal entertainment or that walk you went on becomes an act of worship.